Program is to give you a glimpse of the Indian struggle for freedom. It all started at the beginning of the 17th century when the British East India Company came to India as traders in spices, an important commodity in Europe back then as it was used to preserve meat. Apart from that, they primarily traded in silk, cotton, indigo dye, tea and opium. They landed in the Indian subcontinent on August 24, 1608 at the port of Surat. Even though the primary motive was trade, slowly the European powers started to get more interested in acquiring territory. Rani Lakshmibai was born in 1828 in the town of Varanasi. Rani Lakshmibai was known for her outstanding bravery and was an important name in the freedom struggle against the British. How did Lakshmibai rise to prominence? Lord Dalhousie wanted to annex Jhansi, applying the doctrine of lapse. As per this, the Rani was asked to leave the fort of Jhansi. The revolt of 1857 had broken out in Meerut, and the Rani was ruling over Jhansi as regent for her minor son. British forces under the command of Sir Hugh Rose arrived at Jhansi with the intention of capturing it in 1858. He demanded that the city surrender to him or else it would be destroyed. For 2 weeks the battle went on with the Rani led her army of men and women valiantly against the British. The Rani, tying her infant son on her back, escaped to Kalpi. Along with Tantia Tope and other rebel soldiers, the Rani captured the fort of Gwalior. She proceeded to Morar, Gwalior, to fight the British. Rani Lakshmibai died while fighting in Gwalior in 1858 at the age of 23. She was dressed as a soldier when she died. Before her death, Jhansi Rani gave the custody of her adopted son Damodar Rao to an Indian soldier and provided him with her jewels in order to take care of him. Under the Tinkatya system in Champaran, the peasants were bound by law to grow indigo on 3 by 20th part of their land and send the same to the British planters at prices fixed by them. Rajkumar Shukla, an agriculturist from Champaran, suffered hardships of the system. Mahatma Gandhi took up their cause. The government appointed an inquiry commission of which Mahatma Gandhi was a member. The grievances of the peasants were inquired, and ultimately the Champaran Agrarian Act was passed in May 1918. Imprisonment without trial and judicial review. On April 9th, two prominent leaders, Dr. Saifuddin Kichlau and Dr. Satyapal, were arrested in Amritsar. A large peaceful crowd had gathered at the Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar, Punjab, to protest against the Rowlatt Act and the arrest of Saifuddin Kichlau and Satyapal. In response to the public gathering, the temporary brigadier, General Dyer, surrounded the protesters with the British Indian Army. The Jallianwala Bagh could only be exited on one side, as its other three sides were enclosed by buildings. After blocking the exit with the troops, he ordered them to shoot at the crowd, continuing to fire even as the protesters tried to flee. Firing continued for 10 minutes. Unarmed civilians, including men, women, elderly people and children, were killed. Estimates of those killed were between 379 and 1500 people. This incident came to be known as the Amritsar Massacre.
எதிர்த்து போரிட்ட பாளையக்காரர் வீரபாண்டிய கட்டபொம்மன் ஜாக்சன் துரை என்பவரிடம் வீரபாண்டிய கட்டபொம்மனிடம் உன் நிலத்தில் விளையும் விளைச்சலுக்கு கிறிஸ்டி கொடுக்கவில்லை, வெகு காலமாக வரிப்பணமும் செலுத்தவில்லை என்கிறார். அப்பொழுதுதான் வீரபாண்டிய கட்டபொம்மன் ஜாக்சன் துரையிடம் பேசிய வசனம்.
கிஸ்தி, திரை, வரி, வட்டி, வானம் பொழிகிறது, பூமி விளைகிறது, உனக்கு ஏன் கொடுப்பது கிஸ்தி? எங்களோடு வயலுக்கு வந்தாயா, ஏத்தம் வைத்தாயா, நீர்பாய்ச்சி நடுவயல் நிறைய கண்டாயா, நாட்டு நட்டாயா, களை பறித்தாயா, கழனிவாழ் உழவருக்கு கண்டி கரையும் சுமந்தாயா, அங்கு கொஞ்சி விளையாடும் எம்புற பெண்களுக்கு மஞ்சள் அரைத்து பணிபுரிந்தாயா, அல்லது நீ மாமனா மச்சானா? மானங்கெட்டவனே, எதற்கு கேட்கிறாய் சிறை? யாரை கேட்கிறாய் வரி? போரடித்து நெற்குவிக்கும் மேலை நாட்டு உழவர் கூட்டம் பழங்கியரை விடவையும் போரடித்து தலைதலை நெற்கதிர்களாய் குவித்து விடும் ஜாக்கிரதை.
Through non-violent means or ahimsa, protesters would refuse to buy British goods, adopt the use of local handicaps. Wherever he visited, there was a bonfire of foreign cloth. The Chowri Chowra incident took place in 1922 at Chowri Chowra, where a large group of protesters participating in the non-cooperation movement were fired upon by the police. In retaliation of the demonstrators, attacked and set fire to a police station, killing all its occupants. The incident led to the death of 3 civilians and 22 policemen. Mahatma Gandhi halted the non-cooperation movement on the national level as a result of this incident. In spite of Gandhi's decision, 19 arrested demonstrators were sentenced to death and 14 to imprisonment for life by the British. In November 1928, the British government appointed the Simon Commission to report on India's constitutional progress for introducing social reforms. The commission was strongly opposed by many Indians. It was opposed by Nehru, Gandhi, Jinnah, the Muslim National Congress, because it contained 7 members of the British Parliament but no Indians. Wherever the commission went, there were protests and black flag marches with the slogan, "Go back Simon." Prominent Indian nationalist Lala Lajpat Rai led a protest in Lahore. He suffered a police beating during the protest and died of his injuries on 17 November 1928. Of his trusted volunteers. The march spanned 239 miles from Sabarmati Ashram to Dundee, which was called Navsaki at that time. Thousands of satyagrahis and leaders like Sarojini Naidu and Vijay Lakshmi Pandit joined him. After reaching Dundee, Gandhi broke salt. When Gandhi marched along India's west coast, his close associate Rajagopalachari organized the Vedaranyam Salt March in parallel on the east coast. His group started from Tiruchirappalli in Madras Presidency to the coastal village of Vedaranyam. After making illegal salt there, he too broke salt. And finally, he was arrested by the British. The Quit India movement was a movement launched at the Bombay session of the All India Congress Committee by Mahatma Gandhi, demanding an end to British rule in India. After the failure to secure Indian support for the British war in India, Gandhi made a call to do or die in his Quit India speech delivered in Bombay. The Quit India campaign was effectively crushed. The British refused to grant immediate independence, saying it would happen only after the war had ended. Sporadic small-scale violence took place around the country, and the British arrested tens of thousands of leaders, keeping them imprisoned until 19 remembered for hoisting the national flag at the Gwalior Maidan during the Quit India movement. The last Viceroy of India came up with a plan under which he proposed that the provinces be declared independent successor states. The plan was the last plan for Indian independence and included the principles of partition, autonomy, sovereignty, and the right to make the Indian constitution. Finally, the British government relented to the freedom struggle and the Parliament of the United Kingdom passed the Indian Independence Act. The first Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, hoisted the tricolour on August 15th at the Red Fort.